Yo, what's up, post credit family? Post credit clarity family, actually. I'm your host, Billy Hollick. I'm here with Zay. And we just got done watching the boys finale.
Yes,
I'm super
sir.
excited to talk about it. So, Zay, let me know what you thought about it, bro. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it eh?
Okay, so to preface all of my thoughts, and so that people in the comments, people in the comments can understand like where I'm coming from, I
Yeah.
skipped out on season 4. I skipped out on season 4, and I skipped out on season 5. But I wanted to be part of the moment, man. I wanted to feel like I
Okay.
belonged for once in my life. So I
Right.
went ahead and watched The Boys season 5 finale. And let me tell you, Billy,
Mm.
let me tell you, I definitely watched something. You know what I mean? I
You
that
know,
was an
you
episode for
definitely
sure.
watched something. Yeah.
That was an episode. You know what I'm saying? That was an episode.
It
Whether
did
it
have
was
actors
good,
and the
bad, or
director.
I probably kind of
Right.
fall in the middle, you know, in terms of like
Okay.
it was fine. That's why I keep saying like it was just something because I don't really have an adjective to describe it because I didn't hate it nor did I love it. I had a
Can
couple
I
of
can
problems with
I
it.
I actually agree with you. As somebody who watched the entire thing, I want to preface that I am the person on the pod who watched the entire thing.
Right.
I think it is really, 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 really okay.
Exactly.
Like that is my synopsis of it, which you guys may not like. You know what I'm saying? You guys were probably coming over here to be like, oh, they hate it or oh, they really loved it. But I truly think it was really, 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 really mid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird to not really have that strong of a take on it. You know what I mean? Because throughout the season, obviously we've had our like opinions and stuff on the writer and the show as a whole. But now with the finale, the finale is supposed to be like the crown jewel. It's supposed to be like the bow on like the gift that you get, and it's like I don't know. It's whatever. It's really underwhelming. I'll say underwhelming.
Right, right.
But Billy, I do have a couple of questions for you just to get some
Okay.
plot answers before we get
Yeah, yeah,
into
yeah, I'm here.
some emotional stuff. So when there's a moment in the episode where Starlight and the Deep fight,
Right.
and Starlight she tackles this nigga through the window, takes him to
Mm-hmm.
the beach, and starts fighting him.
Right.
And then she has like a she has like a little moment where she's getting beat up by the Deep, which didn't make sense to me because she kind of just tackled him through the window. I thought that they kind of displayed that she's like way stronger than him, but I guess you had to show some
Right.
type of struggle to provide stakes. So then she pushes him into the water. And I saw the clip where the
Right.
fish were like, "If you come in this water, we're gonna kill you." Shout out to Sam
Right. Right.
Jackson. Was Starlight there when the fish said that?
No. No, 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 no. She wasn't.
Okay,
Actually, as a matter of
s-
fact, can I tell you?
yeah,
Nobody knows this. Us, the audience, and the deep are the only ones who know, hey, the deep can't go in the ocean because niggas are gonna fuck him up if he does.
yeah, right. So that was one of my questions. Like, if the Starlight did not know that, what the fuck is she? What kind of strategy is that? You push
I
this
will
nigga
agree
into
with
his
you because if you
superpower?
don't yeah, if you don't know that, then you're pushing him into home court advantage. And I don't
Yeah.
know what you expect out of that. Like, I don't know what you expect to happen. Maybe you were just trying to stall him so he wouldn't get in the way of like them killing Homelander. Um, I don't know, but I do think you're right. With her not knowing the context, the strategy of pushing him into where he is the most powerful is kind of like crazy.
Yeah, so I had a little problem with that. I realized that they had to like finish up the deep storyline, but I thought it was kind of I don't know if I like that storyline for the deep because as far as I know, he's been like this loser character that has sucked up the
Yeah,
Homelander the whole time. And I don't know if I want that kind of character to like have like comeuppance at the end of a show. Like I get that he was a villain. He was definitely a villain and a bad person, 100%. But also
right.
like the show presented him as like this sympathetic character that has like
Did
been
they?
through a lot. I feel like. Again, I haven't
I don't
watched
think
season
they
4 and
did.
5, so
Can I tell you?
show
Can I
me
tell
something
you?
I'm
They
missing.
never did. Hit the Deep's whole character arc because you got to understand like a lot of the boys is an analogy for like other things that are going on in society. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
famously, Homelander is Trump. And by the way, I read this like quote from an article that was like the nigga who played Homelander, Anthony Starr, actually was like begging Kripke to be like, no, let's get it as far away from Trump as possible. So, however close it is to Trump, it could have been worse without Anthony like stepping in and being like, please, bro, I just want to play a complex character, dog.
yeah,
But for the Deep specifically, the Deep is supposed to represent like that red pill, that like almost like looks maxing sort of bro community, and so he was never painted as like this sympathetic character that we rooted for. From the moment we met Deep, we were like, oh, this nigga's an asshole. The most that you can probably say, and maybe a sympathy, is that he was dumb. But the dumbness came from this huge ego of just he didn't think that he had to learn anything because he, again, was this representative of like this red pill, oh, I'm a bro, I'm a gym bro, kind of like what they view like the Joe Rogan fans as. You know what I'm saying? Like that
yeah.
sector of society. So not at any point did we ever see this nigga as a sympathetic character.
Okay. Well, let me revise my statement because I do agree that he's like more of like a red pill bro. I would have liked to seen, instead of like this guy dying, I would have liked to seen like a character arc of like redemption for this guy, like, because I feel like he was like, if we're gonna compare it to like red pill guys and like people who are in like the manosphere and get and succumb to this kind of thinking, is because they're like taking advantage of the manosphere is like taking advantage of the deep insecurities that these guys have. So it would have been nice to see a character like that go through some kind of like realization that like, oh, these insecurities that I have are really the reason why I feel this way, and it's not really everybody else's fault, but it's on me to like grow and be better. But I understand that The Boys is like a different kind of show, and I don't
Right.
think that they were really
They
going
were
for
never
that.
gonna
Like,
do that.
yeah, they weren't really going for that. But I was just saying something that I would have rather have seen.
Yeah.
um but again, that's, I think that's like a light, like a light nitpick. That's something
Yeah.
light. But one more question for you before you get to like your stuff that you had. One more question. Did the guy dying, the guy that's supposed to be like the preacher, and then they put like the
Mm-hmm.
little sex toy in his mouth, which was like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, this is why I stopped watching the show. Jesus Christ. Him dying, did that also feel like anticlimactic for you, or was that like cathartic watching
I
like the
think
whole season?
anticlimactic in the sense that it happened so quickly.
Yeah,
And in the season, they were doing this thing towards the end of the season where they were teasing how like he was affected by Homelander's tyranny. You know what I'm saying? So like he would do certain things where he'd be like, you can tell he was like, well, this clearly is not right. Like I
yeah,
shouldn't be doing this. And he was having moments of like questioning how much he should follow Homelander's ruling. And even in the last episode, there was a moment between him and Shorty where she was like, okay, this is the moment. This is the moment where I can see is he on my side? Like can I flip him? And he kind of just stood firm. You know what I'm saying? And part of
yeah,
that feels like she didn't fully trust him and he didn't fully trust her. Like they didn't really know how far into Homelander's reach each other were. You know what I mean?
hmm,
But because he didn't have because that moment went one way instead of them coming together, yeah, he was firmly the villain, firmly fighting for Homelander. But to your point and to your question, like I said earlier, like it did feel very anticlimactic. They built it up. They gave it so they she gave him the ball game, was like, hey, this is specifically designed to combat your powers and everything like that. So like the the ball gag doing it made sense within the context that they gave us. It just happened too quick for me.
word. Well, Billy, do you have like anything that you want to talk about with the finale?
Absolutely, bro. I think this, like I said earlier, I think this finale was like really, 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 really okay.
Yeah,
And part of me feels that way because on the surface, I did like the ending. I think everybody got a solid ending to their story. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
whatever consequences they were supposed to face, they faced. I.e., the deep. The deep is this homophobic, like he raped Starlight earlier in the season. Like he's firmly on Homelander's side. He deserved to die. The preacher dude, David Diggs, he deserved to die. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got their just due. Even Shorty, who I keep saying Shorty because I can't think of her name. But she played like the president. She had the psychic like face in the back of her head. She got the ending she deserved. Like her entire arc, I would say throughout the entire show was I am constantly I am constantly facing a decision where I either dive deeper into this like tyrannical reign, this fascism, do what they asked me to do, or I make a decision to stand up. And every single time she chose to stay, she chose to follow orders, she chose to go along until that last moment, until the moment where it like mattered the most, where she finally built up the courage to go against the grain and go against Homelander by helping out the boys. Like without her, the boys don't make it to the Oval Office and they don't end up beating Homelander. So in that sense, her like being able to live, her having this moral victory, like that ending made sense. And it also made sense when they were like, hey, bitch, you not president no more. Like because all you were was just a puppet for this guy that we just got out of here. So let's have you face those consequences as well. And then you have somebody like Starlight, somebody who initially when they got into the series, she wanted to be a hero. She believed in everything that the Seven was, and through her time and the entire boys, she's lost that. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And then so for her in the end to find that again and really be a hero through like listening to the police scanner and stuff like that, to me that felt like a great ending. Mother's Milk, being able the entire time he was like, "Yo, I'm doing this so that like my family, so I can sleep right and my family can sleep right because I can't do that if Homelander is so out here. I can't do that if I know that there's this huge villain that exists. You know what I'm saying? And when they beat Homelander, he went back to his wife and kid. And not only did he go back to his wife and kid, he was able to bring Ryan with him and really give
I
Ryan
like
like
that
a
moment. I thought that moment
safe
was
and
cool.
happy family dynamic. Yeah, bro, which is exactly what Ryan needed. Ryan was on the run. He didn't have a family. Everybody that he looked up to was like morally in a gray area. He looked up to Butcher. At one point, he looked up to Homelander, and both of them were equally the same villains. You know what I'm saying? Which brings me to Butcher. Butcher, this person who started out so righteous in this journey, but eventually became the same villain that Homelander was, slowly chipping away at his morals. Like he died. And he died at the hands of somebody who this entire time was supposed to act as his canary. This entire time was supposed to act as this like sort of life raft to maybe normalcy afterwards. And I do find it like satisfying that in the end he realized like no I can't, like there's no normalcy after this is who I am, this is who I chose to be, and this is how I deserve to go out. With Huey, I love that his whole entire arc was listen, I'm trying to be optimistic, I gotta be the most optimistic person, and then when it came down to it at the end he was like fuck, I don't think I can optimism I don't think I can optimism my way out of this, like you have to die. Like, unfortunately, like, and for him to have that character growth in order to make that decision to pull the trigger, and then afterwards be able to like live happily ever with Starlighter, like have a business and really land on his feet. I think that was perfect. I think Frenchie finding the family that he never had and like showing that in his letter to them, I think that was great. I think Sister Sage finally becoming like not being burdened by her intelligence. I think that was really good. Kamiko not being burdened by like her past and her insecurities and things of that nature and able to like live a full life outside of being connected to Frenchie, outside of being subservient to the people around her, like truly as an individual. I think all of those were amazing. Um, the problem that I have though is that Eric Kripke has made the boys a political analogy. Despite people saying like we don't want that, despite people when it was happening being like, I don't really know about this storyline. And so if Kripke is making this a political analogy, then I would say that the boys as a political analogy like failed tremendously. As a storyline, it was okay. It was cool. I felt satisfied. The little piano man music drop, like I loved that. But as a political analogy, completely failed because if Homelander is supposed to represent Trump, who is like this powerful fascist person who's trying to like bring evil to the world, but on the inside is only doing it because of his insecurities, is truly a powerless person without the things that we give him. If that's the analogy there, then your solution to Trump is a kind of violent revolution, like violent revolution to get to the point where we have a status quo capitalist society again. Like that's your solution. Oh, let's get Trump out of here as by any means necessary so that we can go back to the status quo of capitalism. Like that to me, that's true. Like that's so politically flawed and that's so like lacks depth politically that it's like why is that your messaging? You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about everybody as soon as they beat Homelander immediately was like, okay, we're done. Let's go back to the status quo. Huey opened up a business. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like your answer to a tyrannical leader is to get him out there so that you can just be good old boys again. Like no, if like I would have rather if it's a political analogy, I would have rather you get Homelander out of here and you completely get Vought out of here. Because without getting Vought out of here, then the system keeps on going, which Butcher said in the show, which is why Butcher was there to kind of like do the final deed of like killing them. He was like, bro, Vought is the evil corporation, which we said last time. The real villain here is capitalism and Vought. And at the end of this, capitalism and Vought are still like good. Like they still exist.
Yeah.
So your political analogy falls flat because nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Which I was gonna ask you, given the question I was gonna ask was given everything that we know about Eric Kripke, do you think that he has the background to fully flesh out what the proper version of this analogy would have been?
No, because I think that I think that you are so correct in like criticizing the political messaging of the show because while you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, this that's why I don't like this show. It's just like a lib circle jerk. That's the whole show, bruh. It's just like liberals saying like, oh, if we got rid of Trump, all our problems will be fixed, right? These problems aren't really, systemic or have anything to do with the way that we set up our society. They just have to do with one person. And so if you say it has to do with one person, it's easier to like shift the blame than to like take accountability and really look at yourself and what you believe in personally and kind of atone for that. So yeah, I do think that Eric is kind of like a he's kind of like he's a lib. He's a liberal, man. Is and I say that as a slur. I say that as a slur. So when you're listening to this, you understand. I also wanted to say that like what you said kind of reminded me another reason why I didn't like the finality. It doesn't take any risks. It's actually very very safe. I think that a lot of the choices that you mentioned, while good choices like taking in Ryan, I like taking in Ryan. I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
I like Ryan finding his his role. I mean, what is that shit called? Like role model. My fault. I like Ryan finding his role model in who I've seen as like a good person this whole time. He's always been a good
yeah.
person with a good family. Um, but at the end with Butcher and Huey, and I'm like, I was just thinking the whole time, like, this would honestly be a much more compelling ending if Butcher got his way, and not if like he was just killed by Huey, and then obviously, Butcher is not the greatest person, but it
Right.
just would be much more interesting of an ending, you know? And how do you feel about that? Do you think that makes sense or?
I think this is like a perfect I keep spamming analogy, but I do think this is a perfect analogy of a lot of people's political opinions today
Yeah.
because so many people are focused on like, oh, we got to get Trump out of here. We got to get Trump out of here. He's doing this. He's doing XYZ. But they're only doing it to go back to like Biden era, Obama era politics, which are bad. Like that's not good for society to go back to what you view as like the status quo. Granted, neither is Trump, and Trump is like we have painted this picture of like the lesser of two evils, but I do think there's a luxury in viewing politics within that lens that somebody like me or somebody like Zay, we can't do that. Because even if we get Trump out of here, even if we're like, okay, cool, we're back to a level of like quote unquote normalcy, me and Zay still exist as like black people in America. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
like the change that you guys are fighting for, while it does affect us, it greatly affects you way more actually. And I do view it as ironic that the ending of The Boys is, oh, we're back to status quo capitalism, bot is still in power, when the reason The Boys suck is because they are victims of like the capitalist system that they're a part of. Like the reason The Boys wasn't doing well is because they couldn't properly intertwine the Gen V storyline, which is due to studio and i.e. capitalism. The reason that season 5 didn't do that well is because they're trying to launch Vought Rising, which the only reason we have a spin-off of a show that's like good, but you know what I mean, is because of capitalism. They're trying to launch The Boys Mexico. So I do find it ironic that that was his ending when that is also his reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also like Butcher, when he's talking about soups, like it feels like soups in that moment is supposed to represent like the 1%. In
For
real life,
sure.
it's supposed to be an allegory for the 1% in real life. And like you said, the solution is kind of like really milk toast. It's just like, oh, we can kind of live with these people. We can kind of it's
Like,
fine. It's okay.
bro,
Like we don't
Huey's
have to solve this problem.
Bro, Huey's ending was, look at me, I'm starting a family and started a small business. Like Huey's ending was the perfect version of what like the new American dream is, which is like, look guys, I'm pulling myself up by my bootstraps. I'm creating a way out of no way. Like for that to be the symbolism and that for that to be the message that you end The Boys with, which is has been this parody of like society, it to me it is actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It is actually irresponsible to do that.
Yeah, like
Like
why not
if you're gonna
change?
go with the political analogy, do the thing. Don't just sit here and give us this watered down version. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's honestly probably been people's problem with this season as a whole, is just the fact that it's not taking enough risks. You know, it feels very, very, very safe. And it's just like when you do this, take it back to Captain America Brave New World, for example. When you do something that is very, very safe and has nothing of political importance to say, it doesn't resonate with people. And watching this finale, I'm like, I'm realizing, and talking with you, I'm realizing that that finale didn't really like resonate with me in a ton of ways, you know, emotionally. Like I haven't seen season 4 and season 5, but I do feel like if you take an episode out of a better show, maybe like the finale, while you can't, like, there's some plot threads that you'll be missing on, the emotionality will still probably hit. Maybe not to the impact or the extent that it could if you watched the whole thing. But if this was a better show, I'd probably feel better about the finale. But I think the finale is very emblematic of the show as a whole, which is just it's fine, you know.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
Like this entire show was millions and millions of dollars per episode of just okay.
yeah. So my last question is another like writing question. I'm gonna ask you. So before episode 8, did Butcher ever talk to Ryan and say, "Hey, we're gonna storm the White House"?
No.
Right. Okay. Cool. So how did Ryan know that like all of them were in the that
Well,
it was
hold
time
on.
to
I
go
got an answer
fight?
for you.
Yeah.
I got an
Cook
answer
for
for you
me.
because
Cook for me.
Ryan didn't show up until like halfway between or like a little bit into the Homelander fight. And if
Yeah.
you remember, they were live streaming the whole thing. And when he dropped the camera, the live stream was still going. So like Ryan knew that they were at the White House. Ryan knew that they were fighting Homelander. And in that episode, Ryan had an opportunity to go with Homelander, and Homelander was like, "Yo, you can come with me," and Ryan was like, "No, you're a villain.
Right. You're a
Like,
bitch
I'm
ass
not
nigga.
going with you." Right. So that part did make sense. The part that I think doesn't really make sense, which was like a plot armor thing, was the fact that like it was an actual fight. between Homelander and
Yeah,
the rest
yeah.
of
I'm
them,
like, isn't Homelander like strong as hell versus these? Like, am I tripping?
bro. We've built Homelander to basically be the strongest soup in the entire world, and like
Yeah,
that fight. While there was moments where you're like, okay, I'm into it, I'm into it. There was a lot of plot armor in that last fight.
yeah. Just to get rid of it. It's like if it was this easy the whole time, like
You could have
why
been did
didn't you
that.
do this 3 seasons
Yeah, yo,
ago?
for sure.
Like, but yeah, like the boys season 5 finale. Oh, I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting something. But nah, to get into one of my other issues with the episode, I felt like every single scene that I was watching, like it didn't feel like characters were talking to each other. It felt like they were talking at the audience, like and kind of just giving us like, oh, you should be taking this from the episode, and it was just like a ton of monologuing and a ton of like talking for long periods of time, which I didn't feel like that didn't feel like real dialogue to me. That just felt like,
Right.
Eric Kripke getting his shit off.
Yeah, I
How did
get
you feel
that,
about
but
that?
also like I understand where you're coming from, but also like you remember we critiqued the writing from earlier in the season of being like it just feels like a lot that's coming to the end. So having the monologues makes sense because you're trying to like wrap a lot of things up. You know what I'm saying? So giving
Yeah,
them space to talk and like kind of show that they are different people than who they started off and all of this was worth it. It makes sense. Um did it affect my viewership? Not really, because it was like one of those moments. You know how in a sitcom, like a famous person will come in as a
yeah,
regular character, but they'll stop for like 5 seconds to let the live audience cheer for them.
yeah. Shout out Spider-Man
Like
No Way Home. Yeah,
it kind of felt like that. Like it felt like yo, we're giving these moments to the fans so that they can walk away like a little bit satisfied. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I just
Like
thought
the
that like
moment
it was.
the moment where Starlight was talking to Marie Moreau, and Marie was like, "Listen," then Starlight was like, "Yo, never meet your heroes," and Marie Moreau was like, "Well, I think I did a pretty good job." Like, and then they kind of paused a little bit. Like that was the moment where you're supposed to be like, "Oh shit, okay, cool." Like Starlight earned that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like they created
Yeah,
these moments for you to like sit in and realize, okay, this moment was earned. And while maybe it didn't come across correctly, and I'm not saying it did, but that is my reasoning as to why they kind of chose that style of talking for like the
yeah.
last
As you're
episode.
saying it, like I get why they did it. I just think that watching it was kind of excruciating. Like I think that all of these scenes are probably good if they're like the only monologue scene in the episode. But like having them back to back to back, it kind of loses its luster for me, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was weird. Yeah, all in all, Billy, do you have a final rating for The Boys season 5/finale?
Ooh. I'm gonna give a boys rating for the finale, season 5, and the overall show. So for the finale, I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10.
Okay,
For season 5, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. And for the entire boys franchise, I'm gonna keep the same trend going and just give it like a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay,
Yeah.
my turn. Now y'all got to remember, I'm judging off the best of The Boys. It seems like I've heard that season 4 was dog shit. I've heard that the second half of season 3 is okay, and then obviously as we're talking about season 5, I'm hearing it from Billy right here. It's in the middle. It's fine. Season 1 was fantastic. One of my favorite. I've said this before. One of my favorite superhero things ever put to like screen. I thought season 1 was so great. But then I think season 2 took a little bit of a step down, and then obviously I stopped watching in season 3. So, I'd give the entire show a 6.5 out of 10. If that, I think that's a pretty fair score to give it as a guy that hasn't watched season 4 or season 5, as I keep saying. I'd give season 5.
They're gonna fry you in the comments, but they're gonna fry
I
you
don't care.
so much, and I can't wait. Yeah.
bro, I hope they do. I'm
His
excited for
name
that.
is Zay, spelled Zay. For
Facts,
anybody
yo,
in the comments
facts,
that wants to
facts. Cause
fry him
y'all haven't gotten to the
specifically
point where y'all distinguish us yet. Y'all just
at
like
all,
talk.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all just talk. I'm
We just
Zay.
talk about
That
what we
nigga's
said.
Billy.
Yo, this is Zay right there without the hat and without the cigarette, yo.
Right, right. For season 5 as a whole, ugh, not my favorite season. You know, a lot of problems, lot of things that just didn't sit right with me in terms of like the writing. So I give it, I give it a 5 out of 10. I'm at the same. Nah. Fuck that. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 season 5. 4 out of 10
Got
season
it.
5. I
Okay.
got higher standards.
Hmm.
Season 5 finale.
He has higher standards.
Yep,
LOL.
I got higher standards. Season 5 finale. I give that. I'm not giving it a 6. I'm not giving it a 6. I give it a smooth 5.8 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, the fact that we got to see, Homelander get a crowbar stuck through his forehead, I'm cool with that. I'm always gonna be cool with that. Anthony Starr, you will be missed though. You will be missed, buddy. Um, you were special. You know, when you were here, I loved you. You loved me, and now you're gone, and it's like I have this hole in my heart that I just can't seem to fill. Anthony Starr, I love you.
Yo, salute to Anti Star. Actually, salute to everybody involved except for Eric Kripke. You
Facts.
guys spent like years and years and years of your life
Except
giving
Eric
us like a
Kripke.
show, giving us like your life. Like you really put blood, sweat, and tears into these characters. And for the most part, like I was entertained. Like I watched the entire thing, and I do want to say, like, if you specifically have made it to the end of this video and you were in the boys, like I do want to say, like, you are appreciated. Any
Facts.
critiques, any like thing that we hate about the show isn't towards your performances at all. I think performance wise, everybody did an amazing job. I'm excited to see what everybody's gonna do after this. Um, but yeah, Eric
Yo,
Kripke,
that behind the
I'm
scenes
not
thing at the
excited,
end was so cute.
bro. I almost shed a tear. I almost shed a
Yeah,
tear at
yeah,
Piano Man, but then I really almost shed a tear at like all the behind the scenes thing. I was like, damn, yo,
yeah.
it felt like I was losing friends. Like, it felt
Damn.
like that's what it felt like, bro.
Yeah.
But like for Eric Kripke specifically, if you've made it to this far, I'm not interested in anything else that you ever do. Like if you attach your name to something, then you lose me. Like if I'm excited about a project and I'm like, whoa, who's involved? And I see Eric Kripke, I'm out.
You know what's funny? So recently, head of Marvel TV and animation, he came, Brad Winderbaum. He came out on like a podcast and was like, "Yeah, I watch like reactors to like get a sense of how people are feeling on the show. I watch like these reviews. I watch these things on YouTube. So it's not entirely impossible that Eric Kripke saw our video about him and is like watching this one as well.
You honestly, you're actually right. He might be watching. Yo, Eric, yo, what's up? Yo, salute. Everything I said is still true. Um,
Facts.
I'm
Eric,
not
if you have a
I'm not
job for me though,
watching.
I'm with you.
No, I'm not doing that because I no. I don't want to do anything with Eric Kripke, yo. Not gonna lie, yo. You fried me. Unless
Yo, Eric,
unless
put
your
me
next
on, yo.
project bangs, yo. Unless your next project bangs, then I'm right back. I'm phony. So like if your next project
I'm
bangs, yo,
phony.
I'm right back on the bandwagon, yo. But as for
Let's
right now,
go.
nah.
Nah, stay on that side, nigga. Stay on that side.
Stay on that side, kid.
Yo, make sure you subscribe. You watching this right now?
Yo,
Press
please,
that big red
please
button. Press the big
subscribe,
red button.
please. Yo, like our video, please. Yo, hey, actually, we have more videos. Watch those videos after you're done liking, commenting, and subscribing to this current one.
Yo, and maybe possibly share it with your friends. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
I
oh,
know you a
yo,
film guy. I
yo,
know you a
that's a
film
great
bro. You
idea.
going on Letterbox, you putting in your 5 stars for this movie that we just reviewed. You know what I'm saying? Share the video with your friends.
If you have any, You know what I'm saying? If you don't have
If you
friends,
have friends,
share the video with your family members, yo.
you
Get
know
your
what?
mom
You
on
have friends
PCC. Get your
because you
dad
watch
on
us.
PCC.
We're your friends. Of course you
Oh,
have friends.
whoa! I didn't even think of
Come
that.
on now. Of course you have friends. It's us.